Hello. I don't know how this episode is going to go, to be perfectly honest. I know what I want to talk to you about. I don't know what I'm going to say yet. It's very sort of off the cuff. Off the cuff just meaning like, no or very little preparation has gone into this, unrehearsed, that kind of thing. Though, to be perfectly honest, you could say that about all of these podcast episodes. But I suppose for many of them, I've got in my mind what it is, what I want to say, where I want to go with it, the point I want to make, perhaps. Whereas this one, I don't know where it's going. And I think part of the reason is because it's just a difficult subject to talk about. I guess what I want to talk about is the state of the world. What kind of state the world is in. And I think it's such a difficult thing to do because the world is always in a bad state, really. I mean, there's always something going wrong somewhere, wherever it's some wars or, I don't know, some pollution happening. There's always something wrong. But I will say that of late, it feels like things are worse than they have been for a while. I mean, obviously there's, still progress being made in various areas. Things are getting better. But it feels like we're not feeling like the things are getting better, if that makes any sense. Like the bad things are still happening. They always seem to be. But the good things seem to be happening too, but just that message of the good things doesn't seem to get through as much these days. And that's just my general appeal, what am I saying? It's my general opinion, like what I sort of sense from, I don't know, reading news, from the way people are interacting with each other, maybe on and off the internet and things like that, and drawing on many sources, audiences that I listen to on political talk programs on the BBC and all kinds of different areas. You sort of gather these impressions from. But what seems to be the case, or what I seem to notice, is that people are unhappier than they were before. They're more highly stressed. I'm largely talking about people in England, of course. When I say this is the country I'm most familiar with, and even though I'm living, over 6,000 miles away from England at this point in time, I still keep an eye on England. I still have a keen interest in our news and politics and so on. And so, yes, I believe people are more stressed out than they are before, but they're also more divided than they were before. There's this unusual division throughout the country that I don't remember witnessing during my lifetime. Maybe it did happen when I was very young and I wasn't really aware of these kind of things that were going on around me. But certainly I can't remember something like this happening before. And I think that sort of like division that I've noticed, like this polarization, I don't think that's limited to England. I think I've noticed this happening in other countries. I've seen evidence of this in the US. I've seen it happening here in Japan as well. And it's just something, it can be as simple as some, sort of like choosing sides, so to speak, but choosing those sides more strongly than people might have done in the past. Looking at England, there's always been like two main political parties, Conservative and Labour, and people usually fall on one side of those two, or maybe they pick something different. But I don't think it was ever such a big deal before. You could have friends. You might be Labour and your friends might be Conservative, and that, you know, you might disagree on a good many things, and that was just the way things are. With people picking parties now, political parties, or not just. I mean, this isn't just about politics. Like what am I trying to say? The views that people have. The views seem to be held a lot more strongly than they were before. You know, there's more identification with these views. This is I mean, just my impression again, but it's more like I have these views and I can't get along with other people who have different views to myself, which is very, very, very worrying, to say the least. I mean, it's I don't have to say this, but it's perfectly fine for people to have different views from yourself. It's perfectly fine to respect those views, and there shouldn't be any reason why two people with different views can't get along. But I will say that the views that people are holding these days tend to be more. I mean, again, this isn't everyone. Probably far from everyone. It's probably just a minority of people. But some of these views tend to be a bit more extreme than they would have been in the past. And whether this extreme goes to one side or the other, you could say to the left or to the right. I don't know. I'm very worried by any extreme views, no matter sort of like which side they happen to be upon. So I have noticed this going on, and I guess I wonder why is it happening, and where is it coming from? The best answer I can come up with, and I've not done any research into this, obviously, so just take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt. Don't take it too seriously. Would be social media. If you've listened to this podcast long enough, you'll know that I'm really not the biggest fan of social media anyway, so perhaps it's easy for me to make such a link. But I can't see any other way that people have been able to, I don't know, like put forward these more extreme views or these more divisive views, views that just cause, like disagreement or disunity. I can't see that there's any other way that these have been spreading than by having some kind of platform. And the only platform I can point to is social media. But you could say, well, hang on a minute. Social media is just a platform, and you can spread any message on there. You can spread a message of disunity. You can spread a message of unity. So the problem is the people, not the platform. Only that's not exactly true, because I'm sure we all know by now that algorithms favor subjects that get the most interaction, and the subjects that get the most interaction tend to be the most controversial ones, the ones that cause the most upset, the ones that cause the most disagreement, the ones that are the most divisive. So to me, it does make sense that it is probably the case that this, I don't know, the thing, it's always sort of been there within societies, has been amplified by social media and seems to be reaching a lot more people now and changing the way people think, perhaps changing the politics of countries, perhaps. Maybe it's even going that far, which really, really does worry me. And I don't know. I don't have any answers for how do you solve this issue. I mean, yes, I suppose you could just turn off all social media. I would be, if that happened. I mean, I don't want to sit here and say, people should be able to do this and shouldn't be able to do this. The actual sort of like core, I mean, like the core value, the core idea of social media, I love. The idea that we can talk to each other, we can I don't know, organize things together, all of that kind of stuff. I love it. I love using the internet for that. I think that's what the internet is for. What I don't love is algorithms. They're the problems. So I suppose maybe that is the answer then. Maybe the answer is just ban algorithms, and then the rest will sort itself out. But anyway, I do know where I'd like to see things going from here, and that is in completely the opposite direction. I just want more messages of unity to become popular. In times like these, I think we absolutely should be banding together as much as possible, to be trying harder to be accepting of others with differing opinions as much as possible. Because I am quite worried what the future might hold if we don't manage to do that. Anyway, I suppose that is it for today's episode. Like I said, a bit of a weird one, bit of a serious one, perhaps a bit morbid. But to end on a final note, I suppose, there is hope. There is always hope.